Come with me, toy fans.
Hey toy fans, my name is Tony and welcome back to the Analog Toys YouTube channel, and we have got an unboxing video for you today. I've been sent this a mystery gift box from a very regular viewer of the channel, I think. So his name is George Aitken. I hope I pronounced that right, George. George has been a keen viewer of the channel for a long time now. He comments on all the videos, he comments on the Facebook posts. If you guys don't know George, really do get to know him. So George is from Scotland, so this mystery box has come all the way from Scotland. And what makes me really extra excited about this is George is a massive Palitoy Action Force fan. So I'm almost scared to open this. I really don't know what's inside, but without further ado, let's get this box open. So it's wrapped up in wrapping paper, so like a postage wrapping, the brown wrapping paper. Oh, George, you've got me very excited because I'm pretty certain there isn't an electric fan heater in here. I'm pretty certain of that. And I've got to say, guys, this box is really heavy. I think George has crammed quite a bit of stuff in here. So as I said, me and George talk. We talk quite regularly on Facebook, and I'm going to flash some images up on the screen because George has got this amazing Palitoy Action Force collection. I'm pretty sure he probably got into my channel through like the Robo Skull video and the Special Weapons Team video. So. Yeah, really excited about this. So let's get it open. Okay, all right, we've got a letter. Got to open the letter first in an envelope. Let's see what George has to say. And it's handwritten, man. It's handwritten. Love a handwritten letter. Hello, Tony. George from Glasgow here. Just want to say thank you for the lovely YouTube videos you make. When I saw your display of your collection, in particular the Robo Skull, I thought something was missing from that shelf. After this box, you might need a bigger shelf. Look forward to seeing more on your channel, George. George, thanks very much, man. I've had a few mystery boxes. This is the first actual handwritten one. But just the thought you've put into it by saying, you've seen the video of my sort of collection tour, and you know that as much as I'm a massive Action Force fan, I do only have a limited Action Force collection. And oh yeah, I'm just excited, man. I really appreciate this, George, and I'm glad that you like the videos, and I hope to make many more videos for you guys to enjoy. All right. Ooh. Okay. Oh, wow. I've got to take a moment here. All right. Can you see that? That is a bag of Action Force Zed Force soldiers. Let's get these guys out. And what I'll do at the end of the video, guys, as I normally do, I'll get all of the stuff onto the table and take a nice, beautiful shot of all of this. I think that's the Zed Force Commando. This is the Commander. This is Captain Grant Campbell, as I know from the Action Force advert. Oh, George has even put the accessories in here. He's got his SLR rifle. Oh, George, I'm making you a promise right now. I've only just started this box. You've given me enough here to make some way more, even cooler Action Force videos. So stand by, mate. I might even do something special just for you. That's Grant Campbell. He's got his SLR rifle and the grappling hook. I don't know if this guy had a name. This is the Zed Force radio operator. Man, all of these figures are complete. That's the Zed Force radio operator there. He's got his backpack, his hat. I'm pretty sure, which weapon came? He came with the Sten gun. So we've even got the small Sten gun there. I'm pretty sure that one came with a radio operator. George, you're testing my Action Force knowledge here. If I muck this up, I might actually not look like the toy whiz that I'm supposed to be. Oh, dude. All of these figures are complete. I'm speechless, George. Action Force is, you know, everyone knows my favourite toy line is Action Man, but I'm very fond of a lot of other toy lines. So there's the Zed Force Infantryman. He's the only Zed Force character I currently own, and he actually appeared in the Robo Skull video. Now I've got two, and you can't have an infantry without having two figures. Yep, and I've got them all standing. Okay, and then going back to the Commando. So this guy, he carries an M60. This is a slightly better modelled version of the one that came with the 3 3/4 inch Galoob figures. It looks similar, but it's not quite the same. And there's the Zed Force Commando. And he's got his ammunition box that he carries. All right, I'm just going to say right now, George, if you had sent me a small box with just that, I'm a happy man. I love the Zed Force, but there's a lot more in here. I'm pretty scared to go through the rest. So, wow. So with this single Zed Force figure that I have upstairs, the Infantryman, I've now got a squad of 5 Zed Force Action Force soldiers. Man, these are going to come in so handy for some future videos. Oh, dude. Right, I'm going to have to move these out of the way because there's more stuff here. A bag of all sorts. So we've got Q-Force in there. I think there's a Black Major. There's SAS guys. The Mouton's in there. So most of the Palitoy Action Force figures that I do own are Red Shadows. I've got a couple of like Red Shadows infantry. I've got Skeletron, obviously the Red Wolf, the pilot of the Robo Skull, and Baron Ironblood. But here we've got, now you're really testing my knowledge. I know he's a Q-Force guy, a radio operator. I don't know his name. I'm going to get the Q-Force guys out first. The Q-Force Deep Sea Diver. Dude, I had this one when I was a kid. I had it when I was a kid. It's the Q-Force Frogman. Look at that. It's the Q-Force Frogman. And even, I'm scared to take these off in case I break them, but I remember this so well. That even the flippers come off this guy. That's the attention to detail that Palitoy, the greatest toy company in the world, that's the kind of attention to detail that Palitoy put into their toys. George, this is overwhelming. We've got Mouton. For anyone who doesn't know Mouton, well, get yourself educated, get into Palitoy Action Force and get to know the Mouton. So what they did, Palitoy was really clever at taking like existing parts and pieces from other figures, be they legs, arms, heads, and they would often mix and match them. But basically what they did with the Mouton is they just took the Deep Sea Diver, repainted him to be Red Shadows, and then just like bolted on guns and radars and visors onto his helmet. It's a real crazy, outlandish figure. It's bizarre, but I love it. I love the Mouton. And now I have one. I have a Mouton. Oh man. So there's a leg to a vehicle of some sort. Okay, the SAS Commando. The SAS Commando, as you can see there. So very similar actually to the, again, I'm not sure if I'm getting these names right, very similar to the Zed Force Commando. Basically it's the same figure, just in two different camouflage patterns. But where the Zed Force guy came with an M60, the SAS guy comes with a Thompson submachine gun. Love the Thompson. The Action Man SAS Long Range Desert Group is one of my favourite figures, and he comes with a Thompson. So there's the SAS Commando with his Thompson submachine gun. Oh. Dude, it's the rifle. So this rifle here, this is a red, like a Kalashnikov AK-47. This is the same rifle that came with the G.I. Joe Cobra Officer, the original Cobra Officer, and Palitoy recolored it in red. And this is actually the weapon for the Q-Force radio guy. Dude, George, like, I was not expecting this, man. I was not expecting this. Oh, wow. Black Major. And Black Major is in really, really good condition. So again, Palitoy with their ingenuity, they took the, I think they did a mail away, they called it the Action Force Commander figure, which was kind of loosely based on the Action Man talking commander figure that was a staple of the range for many, many years. So they made a mail-away figure for the first year of Action Force, which was the Action Force Commander, and then they just recolored him and brought him out as the Black Major. So he can now go with Baron Ironblood. Man, I think I've got like nearly all of the Red Shadows now, between what I've already got upstairs, and once again, we've got another Kalashnikov AK-47 there. This time in black for the Black Major. Oh, dude. Okay. And here we have the SAS mission pilot. And he's got his yellow removable buoyancy vest, or whatever you call it, life vest. And there's a few other accessories in here. I don't know what everything's from. I'm going to keep the loose accessories out there. A red antenna of some sort. Oh man. Can you see how small that, I think that's a Browning pistol, or maybe a Colt 45. I'd say Browning, being that it's a British toy. And that is tiny. I don't even know if my camera can focus on that when I do a close-up. But that pistol is from the SAS mission pilot. Oh my God. George has just given me like a full Action Force collection here. If your intent, George, was because you wanted to see more Analog Toys videos on Action Force, I promise you, you're getting a ton more videos. We've got a black detonator. I have a spare one of these sitting around upstairs, a black detonator. I'm pretty sure that came with the SAS Commando. A couple of yellow missiles. They're obviously Q-Force. I'm not sure what they're off. We'll keep them there for now. And some paperwork. This looks like, excuse me, some sort of code breaking thing. I'm not sure what it is, but I do know that it's from the Black Major. This is a Black Major accessory. Man, everything George has sent is complete. And then we have a red backpack. So that's the same as the backpack from the early G.I. Joe line. Is it Grand Slam? It's the same backpack, but molded in red. So Palitoy would take a lot of the accessories. Not in the first year of Action Force, because in the first year of Action Force, they weren't really aware of, well, they weren't aware that G.I. Joe was relaunching in the same scale. But into the second, third and fourth years of Action Force, they would take a lot of the accessories and vehicle parts from the Hasbro G.I. Joe line and recolor them and put them into to Action Force. So I'm going to figure out who this guy's off. Like, I want to say it's Q-Force, but it doesn't look like any of the three figures that I've got here even have a hole in the back for this to go into. So I need to figure that out. And I will figure that out before, well, not before the end of the video, but before I edit the video and show you guys. Oh man. Okay. Do I need to, I'm going to leave those guys there for now. I might start putting stuff on top of the box so you can see it all. Ah, it's like a Q-Force mini vehicle. The Q4. And this, I believe, so the Q4, I'm pretty sure came with the Frogman, because I remember having this when I was a kid as well. And I'm pretty certain that the yellow missiles sit in the bottom there like that. So we've got 1, 2, and the red antenna doesn't go there, I know that. And basically, so you take the Q-Force diver and the Q4, and he slots into it like so. And basically that's a powered, like, underwater mini, like a man-powered well, not man-powered, a mini one-man submarine, man-powered. A mini one-man submarine for the Q-Force to battle the Red Shadows underwater, under the sea. Dude, that's awesome. Uh-oh. Oh man, there's just more and more stuff keeps coming out of here. Okay. I had this as well. So this was, I'm trying to think what this was called in the G.I. Joe line. This was it the Howl Laser or the Flat Cat? Oh, I can't remember. I'm going to look it up straight after this. I do know what it is. It came out from the very first year of G.I. Joe. I think it was the Howl Laser, which was a G.I. Joe towed, towed, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a towed artillery piece for the G.I. Joe team. And when Palitoy brought this vehicle into the Action Force range, they went, no, we're not going to give it to the good guys. We're going to paint it red and black or red and grey and give it to the Red Shadows. So now I know what these parts are for. So this leg here, this just clips in there, so, like so. So now that can prop up the Howl. We have a front computer screen. Can you guys see that? But that's basically like the computer monitor, and that just slots in the side there. And I know this because I had this as a child. I know where it all goes. And I'm pretty certain that this red antenna must go somewhere on here. No? I don't see a slot for it anywhere. In fact, I'll tell you what I've just noticed, which I hadn't noticed before. So the Action Force figures didn't have the same articulation as G.I. Joe. They couldn't sit down in seats where they had to bend their knees. But when this was designed, this was originally designed for, obviously, for the G.I. Joe line. And as you can, I'll drop that leg. Can you see there? So I'll try and take a close-up shot afterwards. There's a foot peg in there so that a G.I. Joe action figure can put the foot onto the foot peg and sit down with his knees bent. And obviously was no good for Action Force. They had to just sit down with their legs up, but it didn't make them any less cool, not at all. Oh, I think this is called the Red Laser in Action Force. I know, but I've been harping on about what it's called in the G.I. Joe line. But yeah, I'm pretty sure this is called the Red Laser. Oh man, this is getting intense. More figures. Space Force. Is this Captain Connors, the Space Force commander? Again, George has not sent me anything that's incomplete. This guy has got his helmet, the visor, the blue Uzi submachine gun. Again, another weapon borrowed from G.I. Joe. So that's the same Uzi that came with Snake Eyes, and they recolored it blue for the Space Force. Probably my favorite Action Force figure we got right here. Dude. Well, probably my favorite because, you know, they made it in the Action Force line. It's one of my favorite Action Force ones. I think I talked about it in a live stream the other day. It's like the SAS key figure with his Heckler & Koch MP5 machine gun. George has also included the grappling hook. I'll get some black rope onto this one and the one for the Zed Force Commander. Man, I don't even think I'm halfway through this box. I'm sweating. Okay, more Space Force. I want to say the sonar officer. So the sonar officer there, he had this really awesome weapon. This was a unique weapon. This wasn't borrowed from G.I. Well, not that I know of. Correct me if I'm wrong. This was a unique weapon that was basically held in his hand and forearm. And then there was like I don't know if that's like an ammunition tube or a command tube that basically comes around the back and plugs into a hole in the back of the figure like so. I'm getting there, guys, hang on. There we go. Look how cool that looks. And he has a second accessory, which is another blue Uzi, which I just dropped. Oh man, George, thank you, dude. I'm going to be making some Action Force videos. I'm going to be a busy man. I'm going to be a very busy man. People on this channel, obviously, but like Action Man's my biggest thing. I love the Action Man videos, but everyone seems to love the Action Force videos. And well, probably not strangely, but particularly a lot of American viewers really like the Action Force videos because they're seeing this thing that's so closely linked to the original G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, that they never got in the United States. So yeah, people in the States love my Action Force videos, but I'm going to make some special videos just for you, and I'm going to dedicate them to you, George, because this is just some overwhelming generosity I'm experiencing right here. So, all right, I think I see another figure in here. So it's another Space Force guy. Oh, I think it's the same guy, but where one's molded in yellow, one's molded in orange. I don't think I've ever seen the orange one before. We've got some Space Force figures here. More figures. No, this here is Captain Connors. This is Captain Connors, the Space Force commander. Have a look at that. So he's got the same hat that the Zed Force radio operator's got, but again, just molded in another color. Palitoy are really clever with this, and it's not unique to the Palitoy Action Force line. You take, you know, Masters of the Universe, like the first range of, what was there, 6 or 8 figures. There was only, you know, they all had different heads, but apart from that, you know, there was only a handful of different legs, arms and torsos, and they just mixed and matched them, did them in different colors. Toy companies have been doing that for years, just repurposing. It's just a way to get more bang for your buck out of the tooling that's required. You know, so they'll have a steel mold for injection molded tooling to create a toy part. And if they can reuse that in any way possible, they'll reuse that. It's a good way for them to to save money and for the toy designers to maybe get a bonus at the end of the year or something. I don't know. What is... Oh, it's A-Team. I've got a massive bag of A-Team accessories that George has sent me. George, this is going to come in really, really handy, because I'll tell you what, I've got a full set of the A-Team good guys. I don't have all the bad guys from the 6-inch line, but some of the accessories are a little bit damaged, and I do have the odd 1 or 2 accessories that are missing. I think Murdoch's are worse off, but there's the M60 from Hannibal. One of the belts, I think that's Hannibal's belt as well. What else have we got in here? Hannibal's backpack. B.A. Baracus' belt. Actually, I need that because I have B.A. Baracus' belt, but it's in really poor condition. The belt buckle's almost fallen apart. George, you're going to be able to, you've enabled me to completely revamp my, I'm losing my mind here, my 6-inch A-Team collection. Dude, I've got original, genuine Star Wars accessories here. Look at that. That is the rifle for the AT-AT driver, and the laser rifle for the Hoth Snowtrooper, the Imperial Snowtrooper. Oh, George. So this A-Team, I've got to go through this A-Team bag in depth. Action Man! There's a bit of an outburst there, wasn't it? Action. It may only be something very small, but these Action Man water bottles, they're not hard to find, but they were used in so many outfits. It's like nearly, you know, every second Action Man outfit you've got, you need one of these water bottles. And I'm almost certain that I've probably got an Action Man upstairs that needs this to fit into his webbing or into his canteen pouch. Original vintage Action Man accessory. Oh. What else is there in this bag of awesomeness? Faces backpack. Faces radio backpack. Again, I've got this accessory and that's not in great condition. So I'm just gonna do away with all these bad accessories that I've got and just revamp my entire A-Team collection with the stuff that George has so very, very kindly sent me. A couple more equipment belts here. I'm not gonna go through it all. Or am I gonna go through it all? Uzis, M16s, we got Murdoch's backpack, yeah. George, I will, again, I'm gonna put together an image of all my A-Team when they're sort of all refurbished with these awesome accessories. Because this stuff you've sent me, this is unplayed with. This is brand new, minty accessories. I'm gonna put a photo together of my full collection of A-Team with all the new accessories for you to see before the end of this video. Okay. I hope we're down to the last thing. What is this? Can you hear that? I was sticking it in the microphone. I don't know what this is. I really don't know what this is. So we've got some weapons here. I think these might be Power of the Force, like modern Power of the Force, Star Wars weapons. Again, I'm going to take an up-close photo of these, put them on the screen. If anybody knows what they are, hit me up and let me know in the comments, because I'd be very interested to know. I'm pretty sure they're Star Wars. That looks like a Speeder Bike Rider's blaster, I think. And that there certainly looks like an Imperial blaster of some sort. But I'm just not sure which line they're from or anything like that. So yeah, hit me up in the comments below if you know what these are. Thank you very much, George. There's one big thing in here, and I just keep avoiding getting it out. I'm just a bit scared. Another figure, another complete figure. And another figure that I had when I was a child. Oh, and this guy is in immaculate condition. We have the SAS Frogman. How cool is that? With the oxygen tank. So the oxygen tank's removed, the mask comes off, and just like the Q-Force diver, I'm not going to do it here, but each individual flip, I've got a cat hair stuck in that. Each individual flipper comes off the figure as well. So, and he's immaculate, man. Like, all of these figures are really, really nice. This is probably the nicest quality one. He looks unplayed with. The joints, they're so tight. I don't think any kid has ever played with this. Oh, man. The AF9. Okay, so there's a story that goes along with the AF9. Now, anyone who watches or listens to the Full Force podcast, so I'm sure you do, George, being a big Action Force guy. Big shout out to Chris McLeod from the Full Force podcast. But anyone who listens to the Full Force podcast on YouTube, I think they're also on Podbean and Facebook. I did an interview with Chris McLeod some time ago now. I'm trying to remember when. It's much earlier in the year. I did an interview with him. It's about an hour and a half interview, something like that. And he was talking to me. And I actually said that I had this incredible childhood memory of the AF9. I'm not going to ruin the story here because I think I've told it quite well. But head over to the Full Force podcast on YouTube and look up the interview with Tony Roberts from Analog Toys, where I tell the story of the AF9 and what. Let me put it this way. I've got a very distinct childhood memory that revolves around the AF9, and yeah, you want to hear that story. I love this, George. Thank you very, very much. Thank you very much. 1981. We got an instruction sheet here. Okay, I'm going to leave that for a moment. And another one. George, you've even sent me instruction sheets, man. Okay, this is the last big thing. Well, there's some instruction sheets, but I'll get to that. But this is the last big thing in here. Dun, dun, dun. The Red Shadows, excuse me, Hyena. Most of you American viewers will recognize this as a red HISS tank. Again, when they brought this out for the Palitoy Action Force line, oh my God. Another blue Uzi just fell out of the bottom of that. I'm glad I didn't miss this. Yeah, so this is a recolored HISS tank from the G.I. Joe Cobra line. Obviously it's missing a couple of accessories here. The stickers have come off. I think it's missing the guns off the top. But the canopy is intact, and I might even do a restoration video on this, George, because I haven't done a restoration video for some time. I don't do many of them for the channel, but I'm going to reacquire some, or make my own stickers. I'm going to reacquire the gun turret for this, and we're going to do a restoration of this HISS tank and bring it back to its former glory. And you have my word on that, George. I want this to be back to its former glory, so it can sit alongside the red laser and the Robo Skull in my collection. Oh, dude. So yeah, so these instructions I picked up before. I didn't want to spoil the surprise, but these are the instructions, the full instruction sheet for the Red Shadows Hyena, which is, did I mention the Hyena? That's what they called the G.I. Joe HISS tank when they brought it into the Action Force, like Red Shadows line. And minty original as well. Really, really mint instruction sheet here. Man, this is incredible. George. And there's one last thing. Oh no, I spoke too soon. There's two. What have we got here? we have another instruction sheet for the Hyena, but I'll tell you the difference. I'm going to take a close-up shot of this so you guys can see this. But so one version of the Hyena came with a very rare figure called the Red Jackal, which was a recolored Destro, who's pictured down there. So it was Destro with different paint applications down his chest. I don't know which one came first. I think the Red Jackal one. And then we have this guy here. I don't remember his name from the G.I. Joe line, but you have this Cobra guy here. So the Red Shadows Hyena was actually released over like 2 different waves with different drivers. And George has sent me the instructions for both different variations. So I can basically hunt down either one of those 2 drivers and make it, you know, whichever that version is. So, George. And one of my favorite Cobra vehicles, we have an instruction sheet here for the Action Force Cobra Night Attack four-wheel drive Stinger. George knows, I'm pretty sure he knows, I've got this in my collection. I actually did a video a while ago where I compared the Cobra Stinger to the G.I. Joe Ore Striker, and they kind of did a, you know, reviewed their mobility, speed, weaponry, armor, all that kind of thing, and did a bit of a, what I call a versus video, so the Stinger versus the Ore Striker. I think I may have carried on like a bit of a kid here, but I honestly feel like a giant kid right now. Knowing that George is a massive Palitoy Action Force collector, and when he reached out to me, you know, wanted to send me something because he appreciated the videos, I did say to George, like I believe I said to George, I'd say to most people, you know, please don't feel obligated to send me anything. I've got a very large collection. I actually struggled. Excuse me. I actually struggled to find storage places for some of the toys that I don't have the room to display. But one of my favorite toy lines that I don't have a lot of is Action Force, Palitoy's Action Force. I've got maybe 6 figures and I've got the Robo Skull and that's it. And George has just given me, like, I mean, collectors just starting out could spend the first year, 2 years just building a collection like this. We've got I've got the Zed Force guys here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 complete Action Force figures, a complete Q4, a complete Howl Laser, and the AF9, and of course the Red Shadows Hyena. And I can't wait to get this thing fully restored, man. This is going to look so cool. I'm going to get my Red Shadows infantry guys from upstairs and get them on the back. I'm probably going to get Skeletron in the cockpit, and let's see if I can, don't know if I'll acquire a Red Jackal. The Red Jackal's are pretty rare and pretty expensive to drive this, but we'll see how we go. We'll see what we can figure out here. Dude, George, this is an overwhelmingly generous gift, man. I can't thank you enough. I'm going to show you guys a heap of pictures of George's collection. He's very proud of his collection. He sends me photos all the time and I love looking at them, man. He's got a awesome Palitoy Action Force collection. His Zed Force stuff is just incredible. You know, he's got the Zed Force headquarters, and they're getting really expensive now because the Zed Force headquarters modeled off the G.I. Joe headquarters. The Zed Force, I think they called it an armored troop carrier, was modeled off the G.I. Joe armored personnel carrier, but they gave it some upgrades and this really cool camouflage pattern, so it sort of matched the green and black Zed Force soldiers. And just the color scheme alone makes them highly collectible and really appealing to both UK and American collectors of Action Force and G.I. Joe. So I've rambled enough, although I still need to try and figure out where this red antenna goes and this red backpack, but I'll figure that out. I will figure that out. Then surely there's a figure here where it goes on, but If not, it's great to have some spare accessories. So, all right. I was not expecting this. I actually don't even know how all of this stuff, dude, look at this. How did all of this fit in such a small box? Because there's so much stuff in here. It's mind-boggling. Captain Campbell, stand to attention. Look at it all. Well, now they're falling over. Okay, I'm gonna sign off before I embarrass myself, because I'm going to go into a little childhood meltdown here. George, thank you so much, man. And if I can ever repay any favors, just reach out to me. We talk all the time on Facebook anyway. But if you want Action Force videos, you're gonna get them, brother. You really are gonna get them. I hope everyone enjoyed this video. I've certainly enjoyed this experience. This has been incredible. Thank you all for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video coming pretty soon.